Good evening. My name is Sarah Jane McNaughton. I am the founder of Power Peace Prosper, and I do business and accountability coaching for solo business operators, businesses at any stage, but mostly in the service industry. And this is the Power Up series. It's going to be a series of webinars fortnightly, talking on different topics that specifically relate to the unique challenges and constraints, and also the really joyous things that are experienced by solo business operators specifically. So tonight, I just want to do a little bit of an introduction, let you know a little bit about myself, and also talk on one of the really important topics being planning and goal setting. So basically, long story short, I had 20 years experience in corporate, 10 of those in management and leadership roles. And a couple of years ago, I had one of those moments in life where you sort of go, what am I doing? How did I get here? I'm sure that some of you will know the one. And I decided to throw in my high-paying, secure job and go off on my own as an entrepreneur. And I did try a few different businesses. I started off with, what I knew, which was leadership coaching and development, and also tried a few other bits and pieces along the way. But essentially what ended up happening was that people started to reach out to me for connection around business topics and advice. So I put together a couple of these 2-day mastermind events. So overnight, 2-day mastermind events where entrepreneurs who ran businesses all on their own would come together and have an opportunity to stand up and have masterminding sessions where they could tell each other, the challenges that they were experiencing and get some advice from the room, from other people at varying stages. And also just creating co-working space, so an environment for action. So as a coach, I'm extremely action orientated, which comes a little bit from my career as well. But just even sitting in silence, working on your own thing, but in an environment where it's curated for action and for business, really helped a lot of people to expand what they thought was possible and get a lot done in a short amount of time. So more and more people were asking me for this sort of service, and I ended up developing a bit more of a business coaching container, one-on-one personalized coaching and accountability. So that looks like, doing a 2-hour strategy session where I get to learn everything there is to know about your business, and really more importantly, your life goals and the goals for the business, because most of us do get into entrepreneurship to follow our heart, follow our dreams, and create the life that we would like to have. So I get to know that. And I also get to know all about you, because the other thing with solo-led businesses is that they will only ever grow to your capability and your capacity as the founder. So understanding that, I do spend a lot of time working with the individual on, things like emotional blocks, stories and programs they might have, and also their actual capacity as a business owner and their capability as well. So yeah, and then we meet very briefly, just as check-ins for 8 weeks, just to ensure that there's momentum, that there's action going. And I create a very comprehensive business plan for the business owner and a marketing plan as well. So that's essentially an 8-week accountability package. So that's a little bit about sort of what I do now and what my service is at Power Peace Prosper. But the reason that I specifically work with solo business operators is because, well, people were asking for the service, but really because when I went into entrepreneurship on my own, I found that it wasn't quite what I expected in a lot of ways. And there's really unique challenges that are only applicable to people who are running a business solo. For example, first of all, the thing that comes to mind is isolation. So I mentioned before about when people would come to my mastermind and get into a room with other business owners, the energy shift into their work mode, their action mode, but also just having people to bounce things off and ask business topics. If everyone has a job in your life, and not only do they not really understand how to help you when you have a business question or constraint, sometimes they're a little bit fearful for you. So that can be a little bit unhelpful as well. So the isolation piece is really huge in the solo business space. The other thing that comes to mind is that you need to wear all the hats. You don't have a team of people doing all the things for you. So you really need to get good at a lot of different skills. That requires for you to be really open to learning. It requires you to be open to making mistakes. And sometimes that can really slow down the growth of your business or, what's actually possible for you. So that is a unique challenge that is experienced by solo business owners. Their growth of their business is really dependent on their own, again, like I said before, capacity and capability. The other thing I see with solo business owners is that their to-do list, again, because of wearing all the hats, is absolutely endless. And everything can feel urgent and important. Like it all must get done. What that means is we end up working way, 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 way more hours than a typical person would in a business or a job. Um, but also, it's really hard to discern, well, what are the actual important items on this list? Which ones are genuinely urgent and important and don't actually just feel like that? So it's sometimes useful to have that objective person that understands what you're trying to achieve, but is objective and emotionally detached and able to say, well, these three things on your list are actually the needle movers. So do those this week. So that's a little bit about what I provide too. And then the fourth unique challenge with solo business operators is because they're quite heart-led, usually they're going into the business space because they want to help somebody or they want to help someone that was like themselves, or they just see a gap in the market and then they just kind of go for it. Generally speaking, there's very little structure and very little plan. So I come in and build out that comprehensive business plan, take that off your plate so that you can actually just go through the tasks. But basically, I just love working with solo business operators because I experienced all four of those major challenges as a solo business operator over the first probably 1 to 2 years of my business before I kind of figured out the things that I really needed that were critical. So yeah, I love helping other people do it. And that's why I started this series. I thought, you know what, there is a bunch of unique challenges for solo business operators. Let's get talking about it. There is not a lot of information out there. There's not a lot of support out there specifically for solo operators. So I really want to be able to have a place for people to go and potentially get their questions answered, potentially, find out about what they can do about a constraint that they're experiencing. So over the next 12 months at this stage, every 2 weeks, I'm going to be talking on a different topic. It'll either be something that is a specific challenge for a solo business operator, or it might be, for example, something like AI, which is applicable to all businesses, but how do we use it as a solo business operator the most effectively? So it could be a broad topic brought down for the solo business operator and how you might use it in your business, or it could be a solo business operator specific topic. They're going to be on every Wednesday evening, 6:15 Australian Eastern Standard Time, and go for 45 minutes. You can choose to jump on live on the call and listen to the information, and then I will always do a bit of hot seat coaching at the end, if that's needed, or answer questions in the chat or whatever. Or you can obviously watch the recordings as well every week if that's better for you, and just reach out if you need anything. But yeah, they're going to be completely free and just really about providing some education, support, and just letting you know that as a solo business operator, I see you. I understand that you are doing this because you absolutely love it and because you want to create the life of your dreams. And I do believe that every person not only can do that, but should do that. I feel like everyone should be able to be successful at entrepreneurship. But it's not easy. So I honor you for pursuing the path, and I'd love to be a help to you if that's something that you need. So for tonight being week one, I just wanted to touch on the importance of goal setting and auditing. It is the 1st of July today. It might not be when you're watching it, but it is the 1st of July. So I've just done a series of in-person workshops with business owners on the Sunshine Coast where I live and Brisbane, and I'm doing one on the Gold Coast this week around auditing the last 12 months and then doing a plan on a page for the next financial year, the 12 months ahead. But I really do believe that planning needs to happen every quarter. And again, planning is something that when we are so busy, we're doing everything ourselves, the to-do list is endless, and we're trying to get traction in the things that, are income producing, for example, as a priority and things like that to get cash flow moving. The planning and the strategy and the goal setting and even the auditing aspect, like did I even hit the goals that I'd set, can really go by the wayside. So what I aim to do is make it really, really simple for people to come to this process, even if it's only once a year, and do the audit, the look back, and then the look forward, but on one page, so that it's something you can put on the wall and just come back to every quarter and check. But really, the important thing to note is to take the time out to work on your business. A very small amount of time, even if it's 2 hours every 3 months, will save you drastically in the long run. Because what happens is when we're not clear on our direction and what we're actually looking to achieve in the next quarter, and a quarter is a nice amount of time, 3 months, because it's like long enough that you can achieve something sizable, but it's sort of short enough that if you're off track, you can course correct. But if you don't know what you are aiming for in a quarter, then it's very easy to kind of get off track and to not even realize it, to look back and go, hang on, how did I get here? So we do want to spend, and that's costly in terms of time. If we have to course correct at other points, or if maybe there was something that we wanted this quarter to achieve and it required a sizable task to get there. And if we don't have that at least thought about and written down and intentionally put into our diary, you could just completely miss doing that big task that has to happen. So really important that you take the time out, even if it's like bare minimum 2 to 3 hours every quarter. But if you can do a day, that's best. Take yourself out of your typical environment. I know some people that actually just take themselves away for the weekend, overnight, just to an Airbnb and just spend a whole weekend on it. They've gotten to that point where they can, or you might do that every 6 months, but really spend the time every quarter doing this. And around the July 1st, spending even more time, a couple more hours looking at the entire year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop some resources, attach some resources here somehow, however that happens, that you can use to do essentially an annual plan on a page. So it's an A3 page. It maps out things like your offer, your ideal client, your income goals, which needs to be an annual goal and then reverse engineered into quarters. It has a planner for each month, like what your critical task is to do each month in order to get there. So for example, in a retail business, we know that things like Christmas and Boxing Day sales are really important. So there'll be different tasks to do before that. And then January might be a much quieter time. So, that's when I might do my strategic planning. That's where I need to make sure I have income put aside, all of that sort of thing. So it's really about understanding your ebbs and flows in your business ahead of time so you can plan and be prepared better. So I'm going to drop that there. The other thing I'm going to drop is the audit that I like to do every single year as well, and that I do in my workshops with my clients and my and just generally as well with solo business operators. And it's really looking at the last 12 months, but you can do it quarterly. In fact, I would encourage you to do it quarterly. And it looks at, well, what am I going to keep, cut, and create? So when we're looking at the things that we're going to keep, it's like what worked really well. And there's prompting questions. So it's more like a journaling exercise. There's prompting questions. What things worked really well, gave me the best results, whether that was good clients, good income, what offers did I love delivering, all of those sorts of things. Then the next thing is cut. So those are the things that potentially didn't work so well. So marketing activities that you tried that yielded no results. It could be clients that you worked with and there were specific things. Maybe they didn't pay on time. Maybe they were difficult to work with. Maybe they weren't your ideal client. And then there's also, income producing, which didn't produce the income you thought they would, and which offers you just didn't really land, that didn't really land either for the client, your results, or that you just really didn't enjoy delivering, right? Because we want to enjoy this process as well. Now, when I say cut, it's just important to understand we don't have to cut things straight away, but it's more about bringing awareness to the things that we can phase out. So, for example, if there's an offer in there that, maybe is a fairly high ticket offer, it gives you good income, but you really don't like delivering it, and the kind of client that you work with in order to deliver that offer is not aligned with you, then you might keep that going until you've replaced it with something else. So in your create section, which is next, there might be a different offer, and until you get that off the ground, you need to deliver the cut offer, but with the understanding that you're going to phase it out, so that it's not about cutting anything like straight away. Don't let that deter you from writing things down. It's about, well, if something's not working for me for some reason, how am I going to either cut it immediately or phase it out or replace it with something else? And the next thing is create. So often we'll find when we've done the keep and the cut process, there'll be some very obvious pieces in there around what needs to be created. Or what you'd like to create and how you want things to look. And this is where we also get to connect into a bit more of a bigger vision. The other thing that happens with solo operators over time is that we're so busy doing everything that we kind of lose sight of the big picture vision. Why did we get here in the first place? What was our 5-year or 10-year goal? And the create's about bringing us back to that, because even if the thing that we're not doing today is directly impacting that, it needs to be in that general direction and certainly not in the opposite direction. So we have to bring awareness to these things. So what can you create to get more aligned to that end result that you're looking for? So that is another resource I'll give you as well. And then again, I would suggest doing that one quarterly and referring back to your 12-month plan. But really, the whole goal setting and quarterly planning process is extremely important. I've also popped in a goal setting ebook. I do goal setting a little bit different to other people. It's kind of a conglomeration of a number of different frameworks that I've come across over the years and developed something that I feel like really covers what is needed to give you the scaffolding to not only set the goal effectively, but actually achieve it. As I said, I'm a very action-orientated coach. So I want you to set the goal. I want you to move towards it, but I want to give you as much chance of success and achieving as possible without it feeling too rigid and locked in. So I'll give you that goal setting ebook as well. And I would encourage you to, if you'd like to, maybe share a business goal that you have on this video, or you can just message me and let me know. I'd love to hear it. And yeah, so for tonight, that's really it. I mostly just wanted to sort of introduce myself, let you know about the concept of the Power Up webinar series that I'm going to be doing. You'll be able to catch them here on YouTube and on my socials as well. PowerPiece Prosper is my business name. I'm going to give you these resources to get started, and I look forward to seeing you next fortnight. Thank you for joining me.